What's up, everyone? So today we're over at the cookies spot. This is actually going to be a dope one because I'm gonna be able to get a quick interview with DOJA. DOJA is someone who I think has obviously made a name for himself in a very positive way, so not really necessary of an introduction. Everyone who knows him knows that he's played a very positive impact on showing people what is going to be wanted by the clients. I think that there's a huge difference between what the growers want to grow and then what the growers are going to actually be able to sell. So something like this is very necessary, and something like this plays a huge role in the whole game. So this is very special. This is a cool opportunity, and I hope everyone enjoys the questions that I ask. I'm not going to try to do anything too crazy, ask any super unnecessary questions, but I think everyone's going to enjoy the questions I do ask. I think I'm going to be able to get some cool answers that people haven't heard in any of these other interviews. So much love and respect to anyone who actually watches to the end.
Well, do you think that traveling out of the state you come from is a big piece of the puzzle in the beginning? Do you think that that is one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle of actually seeing the levels of certain things and not just experiencing what's put in front of you?
Yeah, I think it's good to be exposed to different perspectives, different forms of, operation. Everywhere you go, people do things a little differently. So it's definitely good to kind of like understand cannabis from a more broader perspective.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Definitely, we get that from traveling and going other places that are cannabis hotspots and seeing how they do it there. Gauging the market trends, helps you keep your finger on the pulse of what's really going on worldwide instead of just thinking hyper local level. You know what I mean?
So would you say that events are a big part of that, like going to events early on and kind of just checking everything out, kind of just almost being a window shopper in the beginning a little bit?
At the first point in the game, that's the way that you're going to be able to connect with people. These events create a networking opportunity for cannabis consumers and shit to get together and be able to get together and mesh and talk about ideas and share products with each other, show people what they're doing. So I think that the event scene is definitely a good way to get your feet wet, especially if you're traveling, like you said, to other markets and stuff. Maybe plan that around an event so that you have a little direction of what you're going to do there, and going there with intention rather than just window shopping as you may. That's a good way to do things as well, but also maybe building your network and getting connections built up so that when you're ready to make moves, you have the right people to make them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you think that the fact that you had to move around when you were young, do you think that was something that kind of opened that door a little bit without even having to
sure.
necessarily window shop in a way? You know what I mean?
I think that moving around a lot has helped me in a lot of ways. I think that it's just very important to, like I said, once again, just understand this shit from a broader perspective,
Do you think Texas is kind of the place that humbled you a little bit, gave you more of a down-to-earth?
I think I took cues from everywhere, from even still into my life now. I'm still, in my 30s, I was, doing a lot of things in Europe, and I took a lot of cues from, the UK dudes and stuff, and kind of, added that into my style. So I think it's been in a lot of places, but yeah, Texas had a big, I was in there in my adolescence years, so, I kind of learned to sell weed in Texas and in California, so it's been a couple of different places that really brought together the experience level. But I think that Texas has a lot of hustlers out there. There's a good game out there. I think Texas has a big future in the cannabis space, and that history of cultivation and cannabis consumption out there helped me get started too.
I was saying it'd be easy. I think that Texas has a great team building way of going about things. They understand that team building is very essential in keeping things alive.
A lot of people, I'd say, out of everywhere that I work, I think Texas has a lot of very loyal.
Yeah.
Texas is very, you get just loyal friendships out there and stuff. People are pretty down to earth and real. People are generally most part pretty real out there, So it's a good place to build cool connections and shit. You got some places where people are more superficial. Out in LA, it's known for that, but Texas is a good wholesome spot to build solid connections with people.
Do you think that New York City could ever overtake LA's scene?
I think that LA and New York is like comparing apples to oranges. California is always going to have a higher production volume. So we're always going to be the production leaders. That'll never change. There's already so many facilities that even if we start to build a lot of facilities in New York, I don't see that, transpiring into, the volume, the sheer volume of, California is the top producer of cannabis in the world, I just don't see that changing. So from a production standpoint, we just have so much more production volume. From a retail smoking standpoint, there's a very vast market in New York, and it's just like that market has a huge influence over the industry. You get what I'm saying? To where it's like that market influence of New York is really driving a lot of the trends in the industry. So I think that New York is a trend-setting market, and it's all based around the retail aspect. But then, California kind of conforms to that and then produces what needs to be produced to meet that demand. Whereas I'm somebody that's straight in the opposite direction. I don't like to really cater to any market's demand. I try to, focus on my own creativity and give people more like what I want based upon versus what they want. And then people appreciate what we like when we're doing like that. But the New York demand is driving the market right now, I would say.
From like an outside perspective, it looks like you're playing the long game, like from trying to cater to yourself in a way, because that you have like a taste bud that's not just going to be just yours. It's going to be very similar to a lot of people in this game, and it's something that a lot of people kind of just cater to what's going to make them the most money. And it's like I think that
I don't do it for the money. We never do. I put all my money back into doing it. So it's like, at the end of the day, I'm doing it for the passion. And the flavors that we're finding and stuff is if something I'm rolling out, it's because now that we're doing our own genetic development, if I'm rolling something out, it's because I truly like it, I truly love it. And a lot of the stuff that I love, you're right, I found out that a lot of people feel the same way. And a lot of times, it's kind of like a chef, it's like you might not know you like something, but then the way he prepares it, he gave it and presented it to you, you're like, wow, that was really good. I didn't know I liked octopus. You get what I'm saying? So it's like when I start being able to put out, flavors that people appreciate that are a little more obscure, it's fun to do, with my partner Rusty and stuff. So we're seeing, like, for instance, what dropped in here today is that tongue twister, which is an apple fritter blueberry mimosa in your pocket. So you smoke it right now. It's amazing. It tastes like fucking red Gatorade. So it's like, when you hear apple fritter blueberry mimosa, people might be turned off by that, but try it. That's just an innovative new flavor, and we're trying to bring fruit, new school fruit terps to the, mouth coating fruit terps to the game. So it's just like, about trying to find new stuff and let people see what we like, and hopefully everybody, some people are gonna love it, some people not, but it's like, the people that love it, it's a special group of people.
What do you think about outdoor? Do you think that it could ever be?
The mixed light that Preferred Garden is growing right now, the sun brings a different spectrum, full spectrum to the game. So the mixed light that Preferred Gardens is growing right now is arguably getting to be like where it's even more, some people will say some batches may be even superior. So when we're talking about under canopy LED lighting, over canopy high pressure sodium, plus the enhancement of the spectrum of the sun, it's like that's pretty much in a fully climate controlled, sealed, full HVAC dehumidification situation, basically just with a glass roof, is like next level. You know what I mean? So this is the future. I mean, it's definitely more effective as well too. We're seeing, with the economy the way it is right now and stuff, people are more price conscious, especially with the tax structures in California. So to be able to do that, with that is, now that we're seeing the level of the product getting to where it's at, it's easy to be able to see that becoming something that would be, if not the future, just something that's a very influential sector of the market.
It's going to be a huge piece of the puzzle that a lot of people kind of like overlook.
And for the outdoor, just to reiterate real quick, is that outdoor itself, full-term outdoor, is starting to have its place in the form of rosin. A lot of the rosin that we're seeing that people are really liking is coming from really highly maintained and boutique full-term crops. You know what I mean? The sun's we know that the sun brings a higher terpene, higher terpene levels and a better fuller spectrum to be able to enhance certain nuances that you might not even see inside. So it's like, it's just about using the right thing, and the sun has its place in the supply chain. Like if you don't have the sun in your supply chain, you're tripping, especially out where we're at, because we have, on 38th parallel, we got some of the, best sunlight in the world for cannabis production. So
I have
if you don't
some-
have the sun in your supply chain, you're tripping. You know, shout out to the sun.
I have some SFV from Humboldt right now that's insane.
You know what I'm saying? So I smoked mixed light last night since I've been here. I had some papaya mocha that I brought with me from Dave. So you know, I'm smoking mixed light every day. I love the full spectrum effect that it brings you. You know, it gives you a certain level of effect that is a little bit more full bodied than you would maybe feel from an indoor flower. So you know, I like that twice a day, supplementing that feeling and you know, just getting that full entourage. You know.
I agree. I think that the outdoor, it's been slept on because of so many reasons. People looked at it to be dirty. Everyone looked at it to be what they were told it was, and no one got to try like the really high level versions of it.
People never tried high level versions of it.
Yes.
You know, shout out to my partner Duke Bresky. He was somebody who was real big on creating, you know, single source. Only his hands were touching it type of shit, and he used to grow. That's what made me really believe in the sun growing, is he would grow the flower that when we have it on our delivery service menus, it would sell 3-to-1 to the indoor just because people were we would share the value, and then it was the product that was just living up to the hype. And you know, when it's done right, you know, we're talking about from the appearance to the smoke, everything's right. Like, you know, even we show you these batches, and those are the batches people call the fakies. I mean, it looks like indoor, you know, it looks amazing. The trichome is super present, undisturbed. You know, the smoke quality is very smooth, and you know, the ash is clean, and you know, the expansion's right, and the effect is crazy. So it's like, what else do you want?
Do you think that's possibly what happened to sour?
I think that sour just genetically drifted out, man.
Okay.
I think it just went, I don't know, you know, I don't think we're gonna see the same sour as what we used to know anymore.
Yeah.
Even I'm trying to make back crosses of it, and I've seen other people, you know, somebody's gonna see this and say they have it. Maybe they have a version of it.
I feel like, I don't know, I don't think a lot of people want to hear my opinion, but it's like, I think at that time it was the thing that was being renamed so much that everyone has a different opinion of what it really is.
That's true too. And
you know what I mean?
I think there's, you know, obviously I think that there's a good amount of people that know what real sour is, but I have that theory with a couple of my friends that I always think to myself, like, you know, I don't even know if you got real sour. You know, you might have got some OG or something that somebody was calling sour at the time.
Because I've shown people that SFV, and they're like, is this sour?
Right,
people
right,
think it,
right.
you know what I mean? It's crazy. But it's like,
those two people were used to interchange those names, but the real sour smokers know that you know, the dark green leaves on top of the bright green buds with the you know, almost pink hairs, you know, like that's that real sour. You know?
it's like Zushi right now. If you call something Zushi, you can put a few
people
points.
rename that one. People call a lot of shit Zushi too, you know, but there's only one. Yeah, the only one.
But do you think that why do you think that Massachusetts was like a good market to go towards?
You know, I think Massachusetts is obviously, Boston's always been a big supporting city for us. You know, one of our, you know, since we've had a good cult following out here, so it's like, once I meet people that I'm comfortable with the production quality, you know, that's the whole thing, comes down to the supply chain. And, you know, me and Buffalo have been working together since 2022 and 2022, and he came through New York, got some seeds from me. Long story short, we popped a bunch of gear together. We're able to pheno hunt and find some cool varieties that you know, I'm like, yo, let's roll those out, you know, let's see how it goes. And you know, his weed is really fire. We just smoked 2 joints of it in the car, you know what I mean? Like, everything I've ever smoked from dude is on point. He gets that ash quality, you know, he's growing fully organic in soil too. I don't know if he's fully organic inputs, but he's soil grown. Yeah. So don't quote me on the fully organic inputs, but I know he's soil grown, and he's getting a really good burn quality, full flavor. You know, and it's like, once you got to somebody that I feel comfortable with like that, you know, he's one of us. He's not some corporate person. So it's like, once I feel like that, I have somebody that's like somebody I feel comfortable, you know, a friend of ours per se, you know, it's like easy for me to feel, you know, peace of mind going into that market with that kind of alliance. You get what I'm saying? Because now I got a homie that I'm like, okay, this is my boy. He's looking out for my best interests. He knows how to grow good weed. Same thing with my boy in Michigan. Shout out to Jake, Fear Booth, for my partners in Florida that we're pheno hunting right now. We just found the Sour Perm 37 and the Tiger's Blood, new phenos there. So it's like, we're starting to roll out like regional specific phenotypes in different markets. Like you see in Mass right now, we have completely proprietary genetics that we're rolling, that we have here. We have the Zope Sour Diesel BX1. We have the Tongue Twister, which is the Apple Fritter Blueberry Mimosa. We have the Permanent Marker BX1, and these are all proprietary to the brand, made in-house. So shout out to homies that are like Buffalo that are finding the varieties and letting us rock with them.
Do you think that's one of the big parts of like building as well, is finding someone that you can lock in and get exclusive genetics from?
That's why I had to jump head first into the genetic development thing. So that's been my main focus since about 2022 is genetic development. That's how I know Buffalo, and that's what's kind of like that was what was able to introduce me organically to these people to be able to have this supply chain that I'm building right now. If we just had open industry cuts, LCGs and Zs and shit, like no one's gonna really you can't scale that, but you can scale once you start having your own. It's all about proprietary genetics. That's the word we're going for. So, coming with proprietary genetics and actually scaling that up, having the right keepers that people are able to that's proven. Once you have that, it's like, okay, now we can pull that from here. We pull these from Mass. We pull these from Florida. Oh shit, we found these in Michigan. It's coming hard all over the place, and we're going to bring all those cuts back to California, and we're going to continue to breed with them. We're going to pollinate them. We're going to reverse them themselves and continue these lines to continue to bring this back to where 2 years from now we'll be dropping the crosses of the tongue twister here. The same could be some of the locations. Yeah. We'll be dropping, tongue twister by SFVOG. And who knows what we'll call it. You get what I'm saying? Mindfuck.
A lot of people, and it allows people to kind of build with you in a way. It kind of gets people to experience the,
you know what I mean? Planting seeds together.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's a huge piece of the puzzle. Of a lot of people, they kind of just want to be the biggest. You know what I mean? And you kind of have to see the groundwork, how to get there.
Trying to build the genetic footprint out here, man. The biggest, everybody can be the biggest. I'm not worried about that. Let's just make some genetics and find something dope and enjoy this shit. There's too much corporate business going on, too much shit that makes this industry not fun. You know what I mean? This dude could be over here telling me we couldn't film in here. You get what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that act like that. So, you get what I'm saying? Let's just have fun and do this shit the right way. Set a good example for the other people that are looking in from the outside, because we've been doing this for a long time. We have to set that standard. It can't just be okay, everybody's it's a branding game. It's not a branding game anymore. It's okay, let's fall back. Let's show them that it's not a branding game. Let's come with proprietary genetics and single source cultivation. Start doing everything, a little bit more higher level and showing that, to the consumer. So it's constantly innovating, pushing the standards up is what legacy players got to do. So, I'm just trying to hold that down right now.
Would you say though that in the bigger picture, it is sort of a flaw of the game that people buy with their eyes now? People sort of buy with their eyes,
or they buy with the THC percent.
Yeah, they buy off certain things.
But what? I'm also selecting things too that, for the most part, with the exception, I got peach trees not really gonna be up to what I'm about to say, but in most part, I select a lot of times, not for looks, but the stuff I'm selecting has a cool look as well. So I think that you can kind of go both ways. I think that it can have a look that people want, that's attractive. I think it can have the flavor. Overall, we're going for taste transfer. So if it's ugly as fuck and it has the taste transfer that I want, then we're still rocking with it. So.
Would you say that Massachusetts' biggest flaw right now is them overfeeding salts?
So that's funny you asked me that. We use salts in a lot of our production, so I'm not really against the salts. I think that there's ways to do things the right way. Some guys in mine are still using liquid nutrients. I'm seeing very good results from a lot of different methods, and so I don't really know the landscape of the market out here too much, other than who I deal with. And so Kyle, he's not using I don't think he's using salts, but so I haven't seen a lot of the other mass flower. I'll be real with you, but we're smoking. This is the way it's supposed to burn. Everything from him has that resin ring that I'm constantly posting. It has the clean ash flavor. It's my boy right here, man.
This is the owner of Breathe Free. Nice to meet you. I'd love to get an interview with you in the future.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a Massachusetts partner, so shout out to the production team out here, man, for holding it down, bringing that DOJA quality to the New England region.
In the bigger picture, what is the goal? Are you trying to keep expanding?
I'm not running into expansion, no. So if any of my partners that I currently work with and I'm happy with the deal, if they're expanding into new regions and they want to take me into those new regions, then I'm open to that. You know what I mean? But it's we're not looking for new deals. I'm trying to keep it as the circle needs to be about as small as a dot. We don't have time to deal with a lot of corporate entities. I'm not dealing with anyone that's not self-made. The Buffalo, as you see it, when he comes in, you can see by his demeanor, this guy's a self-made, self-funded individual. That's the kind of partnerships that I have in all of my, dealings in this industry or with those kind of people. I'm the same way. I'm completely self-funded, self-founded, and we have no obligations to live up to any kind of, corporate numbers that we have to hit. So it's like we're able to do this the fun way, do things that we like to do, and I'm going to keep doing that, with these guys. So as far as expansion, I'm not running into that, but I am definitely expanding the genetic footprint. And as the genetic footprint expands organically, I'm going to parlay that into cool, flower drops, kind of like we're doing here. And as I'm talking, I can't wait to go back and smoke this fucking tongue twister that you have in your pocket. You're going to enjoy that one.
Can I ask you one more question?
100%.
So, what is the best mistake you've ever made in this game that actually taught you? What was the best, supposed loss that ended up becoming a lesson?
Well, that's a good question. I think that almost every mistake that I made, I can kind of look at the value of the lesson later, and I think that's very important to have that mentality to turn your L's into lessons. But that's a good one, man. I can't come off the rip. I think that I'll give you a good one. Okay, so I think that one of the mistakes that I made was, there for a while, I think that we were kind of part of the original push of cannabis brands on social media.
Yeah.
I've been on social media with my cannabis brand for almost 10 years now. So we, as part of that, progressed. It was kind of a certain, expectation to live up to that we had kind of the community was holding, holding a certain position kind of for us and expected a certain, it put a lot of expectation on me as a person, and just to try to live up to everybody's answering DMs and just being able to be at all the cannabis events to show all the people that were watching in other places of the world what the shit was like, from my views, and just kind of like that. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is I spent a lot of time on social media over the last 8 years, that it was a good way to connect with people, but at the same time I think that the biggest mistake that you can make is to put yourself out there too much and to focus too much on social media, because really at the end of the day, I'm not an influencer, I'm an operator, and I like to now that I'm not on social so much for the last 6 months of my life, I've been off of social completely, so a lot of my shit got hacked and deleted, and I just haven't been fighting to get it back, because I'm just whatever. I have a lot of things working on behind the scenes, and I've just noticed that, for instance, a good example is California. We just had our best month ever to date as a brand, this last month of January. So it's weird. I don't have social media, and my sales are higher than ever. So it's it's kind of counterintuitive sometimes. I think a lot of the things that we're doing on social media don't necessarily turn over to sales. They turn over to a certain level of industry clout that may or may not be, actually monetizable. So if you can learn to turn that into money and maximize that, then that's some player shit, and that's what you should be doing, as I try to, and I successfully am. But if you're just turning it, my point of what I'm trying to say in this little rant is if you're just a social media presence, if you're just an Instagram brand, you're out here re-rocking flavors and coming with new packaging designs, and that's a means to an end, then that's fine. But that's not the future. And guys like us that are innovating, it's gonna be hard to keep up with all the new flavors and the new standards when the new standards have been set. You get what I'm saying? So use your time wisely. If you're on Instagram, use it with the right intention to make that shit bubble, to get the right connections that you need to be able to build the avenues to sell your products to where you can express yourself and your ideas through your work. But other than that, man, don't be on this shit scrolling all the time, talking to, this and that, people, making yourself too accessible. Sum it up.
Yeah.
Be less accessible sometimes.
I agree.
I need to be here, less accessible for some of these other people that are just lurking and have bad intentions, and in that way I can be here for the guys like you that actually have good intentions. Because you're one of us, and so it's we gotta look out for us, man. You know what I mean? And it's about even coming to these pop-ups and connecting with a couple people. That's a lot better than me going to a place and not being able to do that because there's people all in my face and I'm overwhelmed and I spread too thin. So sometimes you just gotta simplify things a little bit. And my sales are doing really well. The game is going in a good place with the genetic development situation. So I'm pretty happy right now.
I think that is important. If you really want to find the passion again, you have to take a step back and really evaluate what is actually important to you. You know what I mean?
Facts. That's very wise.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time. I definitely appreciate this.